building this small wood-fired ceramic kiln after months of collecting fire brick, mostly salvaged fire brick. I managed to put together enough bricks to think about starting to build some kind of a small kiln. So I went online and looked at different designs and came up with this wood-fired, I don't know if this is a downdraft or a cross-draft kiln, but anyway, late Steve Mills has an excellent ebook available online where you can download and look at the details of how to build this. It's a fairly small kiln. It looks like I've got a floor area of about 36 by 18 inches, and what I'll do is continue building the walls up on this so that the chamber's about 18 inches high, and I've used so far all hard brick on here. You can see most of this hard brick is salvage used brick. Some of it's got a lot of fire clay mortar on it, so I'm hoping that the spaces between the bricks are not going to be too much of a detriment to how the air flow works on this. I think it'll work though, and if it doesn't seem to draw right, I'll patch up some of the cracks with some other fire clay to kind of seal it up. But as you can see, I've got about halfway, well, more than halfway done building this thing. I started out with I put a poured concrete slab underneath it. Here in Vermont, the ground freezes in the wintertime, moves around quite a bit, so I figured I needed to have a very solid base underneath this kiln. So in Steve Mills' original final design, he used a perforated floor, perforated bricks in the floor, but some of his earlier ones had venting through the side, and you can see where I've made these mouse hole vents as air intake along the bottom. There's 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and I added another one there. The throat on this thing has, as you can see, I've got these cut thin split bricks holding up the center brick there. So that's the flue opening on this. And that's really the only bricks I had to cut on here. I had some half bricks that I used, but mostly that's the only cutting that I did on this. These 18 by 18, I think they're silicon carbide shells I picked up very inexpensively. You can see I've already built a fire in here to try to warm this up as I was building it, try to dry some of these bricks out. But you can see I've got these 2 by 2 iron tubes going across the firebox. I kind of hold the wood up, and then the shelves are held up by this ledge, which is just brick slid in, corbelled in to make a ledge that these sit on, and then I'll build up the walls here up to about 18 inches high, and then put 2 more of these kiln shells on top of that, and then insulation on top of it. I've got some ceramic blanket type insulation I can lay over the top of that, or maybe some insulated fire brick. And all of the bricks up here are going to be insulated fire brick to hold in the heat. You can see I laid a couple there. That's an insulated brick, and then these are all hard bricks here. Go around to the front of the kiln, you can see there's two door openings. The lower one is the primary air intake and clean out door for the firebox, and then this upper one here is where you stoke the wood through, and I'll have a hinged door that covers that. I've got to probably build about 6 feet of chimney here. I still got some ways to go. I'm starting to run out of brick, but I'm figuring I need 6 feet of stack going through the roof of this little kiln shed I built in order to get enough draft. So, and the way this kiln works is the firebox. You put the wood in from the door I was showing you there. It burns down in this firebox here. The path of the flame comes up this way through this opening here, and then into the flue here, and then up and out. So it's the flame kind of wraps around, and if you notice, the area of the openings are all about the same. If you add up the area of all of those mouse hole vents down on the bottom, compare it to this throat opening and that, they're approximately all the same, which should allow the draft to work properly, I hope. It certainly seemed to work with some of Steve Mills' original designs for this. The only thing negative about this kiln that I can see is that it's really quite small. I'm not really going to be able to put too much in here, but the cost of building a larger kiln was just really beyond my means. New hard fire brick is running about $4 a piece. I got these bricks for next to nothing salvage, and the shells I bought from a potter that was getting out of the business. These shells I bought for $10 a piece. I couldn't beat it. And other than that, I haven't really spent much on this. I had this concrete left over from pouring the floor of my garage shop studio, and so I didn't really have much involved in costs for that, so I've been able to put this together for really very little money, and so I'm going to hold this all together. The corners all get angle iron, which will be wired together with turnbuckles to tighten everything up and hold it together. And I still have a little bit of work to do on the door. I'll probably maybe have to do a little bit of welding on some angle iron to make a door frame that I can open and shut easy. And these metal bar grates, I had some square stock laying around from another project I was working on and cut them with an angle grinder, and that worked pretty well. So all in all, this is going pretty good. I'm hoping to get this thing fired up before the cold weather sets in here in Vermont, because once the winter's here, it's pretty hard to do much of anything outside. But I still got plenty of time, and looking forward to firing a few pieces here. I'm planning on doing a variety of some pottery type stuff and some other ceramic sculpture type work. We'll see how that goes, but it should be fun to see how this fires, and I'm looking at trying to get up to cone 6 or cone 10. I'd kind of like to do both, and apparently this thing can get up to cone 10 in about 6 or 8 hours. Don't know if that's really going to happen. It probably is dependent on how well it's insulated, and I'm a little short on materials for the insulated fire brick and fiber blanket that I have, so I may wind up having to buy some of that, but we'll see how it goes here over the next few days when I start finishing the main wear chamber up on this kiln.